blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen, cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
Welcome back to Blursed, everybody. My name is Hayden Cummins, your host, and I'm just getting a little stretching over here, getting ready for this long, cold Atlanta sports offseason. You know, not including the Hawks, I suppose. But who does?
Or Atlanta United.
As I was saying, I am joined once again by the velvety tones of Aaron Kaiser and my friend over there in the hat. Ooh, UGA hat. I like that. Bleezy Blake. What's up, fellas?
What's up? What's up, guys?
What's up?
Just gotta strap my stuff. Hey, did y'all see all the cool back-to-back championship gear? I gotta get one. Nike's got some new good ones.
I know, and I need you to send me some links because
Yeah, I will.
all I saw on Twitter were the shitty ones. I don't know if y'all saw those, but they were like some weird. I think it was like Academy had like some gold ones.
Ooh, I don't like that.
And it just
I'm pretty sure my mom sent me one of those. Shout out, Mom, because she was at an academy in Georgia, so out in Colorado, not getting these championship shirts. So she steered towards the more normal looking one, but Sarah Beth called him out like, "What the hell is that?"
Okay, good.
It's like way too busy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Academy opened like the night after we won, like the night we won.
Yeah,
like a midnight opening for people to come buy their gear, which is pretty funny. I didn't know that happened in sports.
I feel like the one everybody's gonna want is the one that says "Them dogs is hell" or whatever.
Them dogs is hell.
I didn't see that one.
Stat wore it during the parade.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I think we put it in the IG group if you want to take a look at it. It's nice. It's very plain, but it's the message.
It's just the message. It is the message. And they
people
put
say the same of me.
Yeah.
So
that's how I feel doing a podcast with you. Just 90 minutes of hell.
you guys are the flavor. I'm just the host. I need to get on Etsy and try to find some shirts. That's usually a good spot for
the
some
custom ones for sure.
Great.
And speaking of the dogs, I just need to bring this up, get this off my chest. I sent something to y'all earlier today. I'm sure y'all seen it or at least heard about it. And everyone talking about Stetson's age and how there's all these quarterbacks in the NFL that are younger than him and blah, 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 bleep. My thing is, dude, he started 2 seasons in college.
Do people say that?
Yeah, they say all that.
Did you say bleeped or bleep?
Bleep, 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 blop. That's what it sounds like to me.
Somebody's going to get laid in college.
Bleat is like sheep, right?
Bleat. I have no idea.
Yeah,
my point is, though, Stetson started 2 seasons in college football, and he went on to win the national championship for both of them. And all these other quarterbacks played 2 or 3 seasons, and they didn't do shit. So I don't care. Like, I don't care that Stetson's age is. I don't know why it's talked about. I don't get it. It has nothing to do with how good he was.
It's weird we have to keep defending him, but we feel inclined to because he's done so much for our program. It's not just him; it's the whole team around him. But he kind of had that swag, and he was the leader, right? So age does not correlate with football success. It does not. That's not how it works. I mean,
no.
Is this the peak of his career? Probably.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's like NFL caliber. Guys, there's 10 years ago, Brandon Weeden was 28 years old playing for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and he was slinging it.
So
he got drafted too.
He got drafted in the 1st or 2nd round, I think.
He was a complete bust.
He became a Cowboys backup for a while. Yeah.
I mean, maybe Seth will have a better run than he does in the NFL,
But
for sure.
To me, it's and I don't know. I might use this as my blurst here, but so maybe we could just go straight into that. But to me,
okay. Let me hit it.
Worst of the week.
All right.
To me, it's having to defend him for things like that, but then realizing that that's because there's nothing else for them to talk about. We were so perfect this season, so dominant. When you try to hate on the team with the most success, which is human nature, then and also you've seen Stet live through the life cycle of being an underdog.
For sure.
Which is everyone loves the underdog story until it pans out the way that Stetson's did, which is everything went correctly.
0 to hero. Yeah,
0 to hero. And then they're like, but he's 25.
What an ass that guy ages.
Yeah, right. Oh God,
Dude, but
he's plagued by the slow march of time.
Well, they bring it up like we're breaking some kind of rule. Like,
I know,
guys,
yeah,
we
right.
all have eligibility still. Like, you know what? We're
Yeah.
almost 30. Like,
It's time to go back.
Aaron
It's time to
and
get
I-
back.
To go back. Let's go.
It's time to get
So we
back.
can-
Yeah, Blake, you're still in your mid-teens. I
Yeah,
think.
Stetson's only a year younger than me, so I don't know what to say. I
You
will
could
say
go
this,
back.
though, he's such an anomaly in the sense too, though, that he single-handedly is the greatest Georgia quarterback of all time. But also, if you look back I say that as the winningest.
No. You're right.
But
You're
also,
right.
if you try to compare it to any like the last major quarterbacks we've had, he probably wouldn't beat any of them out if they were on the same team. Matt Stafford, Aaron Murray. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you would he, I don't know. That's the anomaly that he is.
The thing that is an anomaly with Stetson, in my opinion, is that you can actually argue his case for being the greatest quarterback in Georgia history from two sides, in that we all saw what he did on the field, but you go look at his stats. I mean, he was a Heisman finalist, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
The dude actually put up numbers as well. Now, mainly the bulk of that was in this past season where they really unleashed him offensively.
Well, and he started
But-
every game.
Yeah, right. But
His first full
still,
season.
yeah, right, exactly. So I mean, he just, I mean, go compare. So you'd probably say Stafford was the best quarterback, like talent wise. Like,
Yeah, I think
obviously, and that
Stafford
has
and
done the
Aaron
best in
Murray
the NFL.
would be the
At least-
two.
Yeah, at least in the modern era.
Yeah.
Obviously, you
Honestly,
got
Murray
Frank
doesn't
Tarkenton
have
back
that
then.
different of a play style than Stet has.
No, he doesn't.
Just
but
much
I know,
different team.
It,
around
Right.
it
him.
is a interesting topic though to compare the two. Like, who would start if they're on the same team? Like, I mean, I'm partial to Stetson. I never liked Aaron Murray. That was like when I was transitioning to be a Georgia fan, as growing up a Tech fan and then getting into UGA. So it's hard for me to root for that guy. But
I was a
point
big
is, like,
Aaron Murray fan myself.
yeah,
same.
most UGA fans were. I mean, he was probably one of the best quarterbacks UGA had until now, Stetson. So
yeah, he set the SEC passing record, didn't he, when he was in school?
Yeah, I think so. Something
yeah,
like
and I think Stetson beat his UGA passing record this year. But the only
Yeah.
reason he did is because we played 16 or 15 games. You know what I mean? Like, we had to
played
play
15. Yeah.
He took him some more games to get there, but he still set the record. So it's
Hey, I don't judge it. If you play well enough to get the extra game, whatever.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Yeah.
and the thing that was, but also that kind of goes back to like how impressive it was that Aaron Murray did it. Stetson had a much more pass heavy offense this year than Aaron Murray ever had in any of his 4 years at Georgia. I mean, he was in the pure pro style. Like, Aaron Murray probably would not throw the ball more than 30 times a game at max.
true.
And- And not very many down the field routes. So the fact that he was able to set that SEC passing record was crazy.
Well, the other thing is too is Stetson got taken out in the third like every game this year.
Yeah.
like people forget that too. Like, his numbers could have been super gaudy if he stayed in.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, maybe he would have won the Heisman if we had let him play out every game, but
He might have been.
it's going to do us more benefit down the line to have Carson Beck get those snaps.
Yes.
I think.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
As he is the favorite to win the job, but it's not all said and done. They got to get there through the offseason. And speaking back to record setting in extra games, this is something I learned this past year. I probably should have realized it before, but like MLB doesn't include any stats from the postseason, which I think is kind of weird. Maybe NFL is the same way, but like for like career totals, it's super strange. You wouldn't include like playoff home runs,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I think I looked this up because Albert Pujols, he was going after 700, but like he was over 700 in his career because he went to the playoffs a lot in
Right.
his early days when he was with the Cardinals, and I think he won a couple World Series there. So
The,
Did they
Interesting
differentiate
thing-
them as like playoff? This is the playoff home run record
Yes.
person, and then this is
Yeah.
the okay. I
the
get
thing
it.
that- the first time I ever heard of that was back when Tim Tebow was playing at Florida, and he broke Herschel Walker's SEC record for total touchdowns. And but the thing is, though, he actually didn't, because when like the day Tebow, no one talked about this at all until if you watch the game that Tebow actually broke the record in. They were like, now, by the way, Herschel Walker did score 8 more touchdowns in bowl games throughout his career, but they didn't count the stats back then. I don't know when they started in college football, but yeah, they used to do the same thing. But now college football uses both. Obviously.
Wait, part of their record books count both, but part of the record books don't.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing is like they
That's
clearly have
awful.
a record.
That's
they have an
awful.
account of how many touchdowns he scored in bowl games. They were like, it's just not part of his stats, though.
man, The only reason to do this is just so the announcers have stuff to talk about during the game. They're like,
Yeah,
well,
right.
now he set the bowl record, and not the
Yeah.
overall, though.
Oh
Yeah.
my. That's
So,
Blursed within itself.
it is.
Oh my Lord.
All right. Blake, you want to hit your Blursed
Yeah, I'll
of the
go
week?
next. My Blursed of the week is this Hawks game, 3-game winning streak. We're gonna get more into this in the Hawks section, but
That's a good blur.
it's Blursed because are we blessed and are we turning the season around and are we becoming the team that we always thought we could be? I will say it's the first time we've had a healthy team and at least 16 games. Clint Capella missed the last 16 games. And I think our whole starting team has only played healthy together, including Bogey, like 4 times this season.
Did Clint play today?
He played today. Yeah, he had a good game too.
Cool.
So the crazy part is like I can't tell yet whether this is blessed or cursed. It's cursed if we just keep doing this whole season, win 3, lose 3, win 3, lose 3, muddle into the playoffs, just because it's gonna be another wasted season. I don't know. I don't know what to say because I'm stuck between the Nate McMillan wanting to be here and not wanting to be here. So that's why it's
Yeah.
blessed or cursed. I don't know how to feel.
Especially after the whole Schlinky stuff went down. Like,
Yeah, it just that
we expected the season to go downhill, but now we're kind of seeing like a little bit of life.
it's
Is
because
that
the
good
team's
that we're seeing a little bit, or is it like we should just let it collapse?
and yeah, maybe we go into Hawks first after we do this, just because it's a quicker subject. But I think a lot of it has to do with just how talented the team is, and I don't know how much of it's coaching.
Well,
If that makes
hopefully-
sense, like there's just so much player talent.
Yeah.
So
I mean, some of the turnaround has to be Trae Young too.
yeah, he's been
we'll
much
get into
better.
that.
Yeah, no,
I saw a
we will.
split of his season is a little ridiculous. All right, my Blursed of the week is Alex Anthopoulos saying that Max Fried would age extremely well as a pitcher. And so the reason that's Blursed is because we have agreed to arbitration, or like we're going into arbitration with Max Fried because he puts in his salary number, the Braves put in theirs, and they have like a third party come and pick which one makes more sense. But essentially the thing to pull from that is we don't have him on a long-term deal while we have most of our other main pieces locked up. And to me, it's like it's giving me a little false hope. We've seen it fall through a couple of times with Freddie and Dansby now. I think Max would probably hurt the most just because of what he brings to the team. And as far as like starting pitcher, isn't
It's so
necessarily
hard.
it's not our strength, and it's hard to find that caliber.
It's hard
pitcher.
to find it. Yeah,
We've been lucky to have the quality of pitching we have had. And Fried, people forget, was really the number 2 behind Mike Soroka before he got injured. And then Fried came into his own, and now he finished second in Cy Young voting this past year. So hopefully we can figure out a long-term deal with him this year so we don't have to stress about it going into his walk year. I guess it's good that AA thinks that he could age well, but also could just be playing games with the media. Who knows?
yeah. I'd be honest. I heard you say that before though, because you heard someone else who you trust in baseball say
That was my opinion.
Oh, that was your opinion. Okay, because
Yeah.
based on stuff you say. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, your opinion is something that should be worthy in baseball talk. So
Source-worthy.
Source-worthy, if you will. But yeah, no, I think it's a good take, and I think the fact that there's a good chance. What am I trying to say? Because we didn't re-sign Dansby, I think there's a better chance we re-sign Max Fried during this season. And if Von Grissom pans out, it'd be icing on the cake because then you save some money there. I don't know. I'd hope so.
It is wild though because like we're paying Charlie Morton $20 million this year. Max Fried, the arbitration number he put in was like I think $14 million or $12
I know he
million.
didn't. I don't know.
So like it's just weird how it works, and like you got to put in your time in baseball.
Yeah,
like,
I saw
even
we didn't
longer than you should really.
I saw the only reason we're probably fighting it in arbitration is because if we do pay him what he wants, we'll go over the tax or something like that, right? Was that it? Like it'll put us,
Maybe,
or if we give him an extension, we'll put over the luxury tax. Like I saw something about that. I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, they're on top of all that stuff, but we've gone past the first stage of the tax, but there's like 3 or 4 different stages.
Right.
The Mets are like in the last one because they just pay for everything.
And they're still not going to win. That's so funny.
Oh, it's just gonna be funny. It's just gonna be funnier when they collapse. So
Yeah, man. So what's the winner guy? What are you voting for, boys?
I'm honestly gonna vote for what Hayden said. To be completely honest with you.
Aaron, when you don't type it in here in our doc, I completely forget within 2 minutes. I'm not
Aaron's
even
was
gonna remember.
Aaron's was testing
Yeah.
Bennett's age, which I'm gonna vote Stetson Bennett because keep our dogs out of your mouth. God.
That's just a good advice generally. So,
Yeah, it is.
folks, you got to remember that one. No dogs in the mouth. I'm going to actually vote Blake because
Oh,
the Hawks are probably, I mean, at least the Falcons are on the right trajectory. The Hawks are just feel like they're in purgatory, just like up and down, buoyancy, just neutral.
You know what pains me so much? The fact that you said that, because like going into this season, we're like the Hawks are on an upward trajectory, like the Braves, like and then Falcons might be on a better trajectory than the Hawks right now. That
at
hurts.
least there's direction, like that you can see that it's going, and we feel good about Terry Fontenot.
But it's been the last 3. Yes, Fontenot, you're right. No, it's been the last 3 years. Has been the Hawks has been a roller coaster ride. Yeah. It's just been a roller coaster. There's been ups and downs, hurt, happiness. And right now we're in the middle of some happiness. So our last 3 games, we beat the Heat, the Raptors, and the Pacers. I will say the Pacers were missing 2 of their best players, but that's neither here nor there.
Since we're there.
Thanks, Morgan. The Hawks beat the Raptors, though. Great win. Raptors another underperforming team, kind of like the Hawks this year. And then we beat the Heat today, who the Heat had all their team back besides Kyle Lowry, which, I mean, they're not missing much with him. So right now we're currently going to be still in 9th place. We're 22-22. We're a half a game out of 8th. We're going to be let's just say this. We're 3 games out of 6, which is where you want to get to. We want to be where the Knicks are at right now. There's plenty of time for us to catch the Knicks, and there might be time to catch the 5th place seed. I don't know beyond that, but that means we have to keep winning, and I just don't know if we're capable of that. Today we beat the Heat. At one point we're up 26, and then we end only winning by 8, and it got us close to 4 at one point. And the reason is near the end of the game, you start to see that isolation ball where it's just Trey or DeJounte holding the ball and no one's really moving. And I think a lot of that has to have to do with Nate McMillan's like coaching.
It's so lazy. That's lazy offense, and
like I don't.
That comes from a guy that played JV high school basketball. So, like, if I'm saying that, then it's lazy offense, right?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, you have 2 dynamic ball handlers, and I get that they can beat pretty much anyone you put on them 1-on-1. But my issue is the rest of the team's just standing there. Like, can we not see some movement, some like set up some different things to set other people up? Like, I don't know. I hate that because if they get a couple of steals, which they did, they get it within 4. But luckily DeJounte was hot tonight. Trey was hot. The whole team was playing really well, honestly. So what I want to say about the Hawks is this. I think you're seeing how talented we are. You're seeing the people that are most important to the team, which is Trey, DeJounte, Hunter, and Capella. And I think we're going to see Collins get traded. I really do. Like, I think by they're going to try to make some moves by the deadline. They want to stay competitive. They've already come out and said that. And with all the turmoil that's happened in the front office recently, like, I think you're going to have to see Collins get moved just because his name's been thrown around for so long.
And there's been reports that like the price has dropped too. Like, we're willing.
Yeah, they're going to drop. They're going to start dropping the price. Yeah. So really, what I want you to look out for the Hawks this kind of week is, can we continue these winning ways? Like, if we can keep winning 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, it'll keep getting us back in this, and then we're going to start talking about playoffs again. But until that happens, I'm just not sold yet. Playoffs, talking playoffs. Yeah, I'm still not sold.
Didn't you send us something that was like, or maybe I just saw it on my own, but it was like, out of the last 30 championships in the NBA, like 20 of them were number 1 seeds, like 5 of them were number 2 seeds, or something like that.
We were going to talk about that. It's in our Twitter group.
The lack of parity.
We were talking about, so recently on the pod, we've been talking about the NFL and how close the NFL was this year and how much parity there is in the league. And basketball is just not the same thing. It's not at all. I got to be able to find it. But what Hayden's trying to say is that if you're not the top 3 seeds in the NBA, there's literally no chance you're going to win an NBA championship. I think only 1 6 seed has won the NBA championship in like the last 20 years.
And they had Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right. Yeah. And they had one of the greatest players. Yeah. Exactly. So to that point, if you're not in the top 3 at the end of the season, you're more likely not going to win the championship. And then it's, well, why are you even going to the playoffs at that point? Like, don't get me wrong. I like to see our team make it to playoffs again, because I think it's important to keep doing that. But we're wasting a lot of talent, especially Trae Young, when you're at 9th right now. And I'll say this, the Eastern Conference is more competitive than it's ever been. So if you look at the Western Conference, the Mavericks are in 5th place at 24-21. In the Eastern Conference, the Heat are in 7th at 24-20. So like the East is much better off than the West right now. We're a lot more top heavy. The Hawks right now, if we were in the West, we would be tied for the 7th seed with the Warriors and the Timberwolves. So there the little glean is that we are in the harder conference of the two. I only bring up Mavericks because we play them next and because Luka will always be compared to Trey.
Blake, let's circle back to what you said a second ago, though, because I'd like to. So I totally agreed with what you said about if you're not a top 3 seed, then really, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But then you automatically went back on that with the next thing you said, which was, but that you think it's important for us to keep making the playoffs. So I want to talk about the distinction there because I would honestly disagree with your second point and just say. If we're not a top 3 seed, why are we doing this?
No, I agree. And I guess my importance was you want to see your team improve every year. And if we were the 8th seed last year, technically we were the 10th. And then we got one up to 8th because we won in the play-in tournament. Like I would like to see us finish higher than last year to show that growth. But also to your point, we were the 5th seed the year before that. And so we need to get back up to that top 4. I really think the top 4 should be your benchmark of what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
So no, you're right. And that's why I'm on the board of like, let's sell some talent this year. Even as John Collins, and maybe we do take a little step back, but let's get some more weapons so we can go next year again. Because if this is our peak, it's not going to work.
No. It seems like you do. I mean, obviously you want to be a top seed going in the playoffs. Everybody knows that, just for an advantage. But like you don't. If you're not one of those top 4 teams and you're coming into the playoffs, you want to be a young and upcoming team, not a team that's playing at their peak to get in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
At that point, it's like just fuck it. We need to start over, or you need to realize that you're not ever going to break into that threshold because that fact was pretty damning about the NBA. If you can't break into that top 4, you need to rebuild.
Yep.
That's just, or you need to figure out what to do.
You need to figure out retool. You got to move the pieces around. And that's
different.
The thing that's frustrating with the Hawks right now. And if you haven't, we haven't really talked about this, but if you haven't kept up with this last week, a lot of damning articles came out around the Hawks front office to just prove that we're a poverty franchise where our owner's son has been running the team basically. And that's why Travis Schlenk left us, which one of my other group me's, my basketball group me, someone said, now 3 years from now, we're going to see Travis Schlenk hold the trophy with some other team because he's literally that good of a GM. And we'll never know if it's like his decisions or his decisions plus Nick's decisions that are causing that have been causing mismatch in the front office and causing mismatch on the team where we're like, I know the team was not happy about Kevin Huerter leaving. Like it's been apparent that a lot of the players weren't. So it's just frustrating to see the team saying one thing, but then we're doing something else with our money. So we moved Kevin Huerter.
Totally agree.
So are you trying to win or are you not trying to win? And so what I'm trying to say about the Hawks, the lucky part about the Hawks compared to some of the other teams is that at least we have a good team a team of good players. Like you have players that other teams want to trade for because you have a lot of good players. So it helps us where we can retool faster because we can move a couple of these pieces that may not be working for us. And I really I think John Collins is a good player. I don't think John Collins is pivotal for the Hawks to win games. He's just not.
I agree. I mean, you can just see about how many times he shrinks in big moments or big games. It's like, oh, damn, the Hawks lost, this game to this top team. Let's see how the box score went. Oh, John Collins played almost every minute and he scored 8 points and had 4 rebounds.
Or Trey will be out and DeJounte Murray will be out and a lot of people will be out. John Collins will go put up 21, but we'll lose that game. Like that's the thing is like he puts up numbers when they're not playing. And like today he scored 14 and had 4 rebounds. I hate that. I hate seeing 4 rebounds on my big man. Like I mean
14's obviously you'll take 14.
Yeah, I'll take 14 from him.
From that option, but 4 rebounds. I mean, how many did Clint have?
So Clint was on minutes. He only played 21 minutes. He had 6.
Okay. See? And how many minutes did John have?
32.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. And so I will say,
if we deal John Collins, what are we looking at bringing in? Are we trying to refill that role that he has, or?
I think Jalen Johnson has proved that he can put up more minutes. It sucks he didn't play today, and that's another thing that bothers me about McMillan is that Jalen Johnson, these last 3 games before this, has played really well and put up solid numbers. And then as soon as you get your rotation back, you just go taking him out. Like we did an 8-man rotation today, and it's like, but you have a 9th man who could play still. Like you don't have to make your 8 players be playing the whole time. Like Jalen's not going to make us worse in this game. We were up 26 at one point. Like
it's like Nate with the 8-man rotation thing. I'm glad you brought that up. That's like 90s shit. That's like
Technically, we had
early
9.
2000s
Aaron Holiday played
basketball.
4 minutes.
Okay, so that's like early 2000s basketball shit, right?
Yes.
There. That's like when the Supersonics were a franchise.
Thibodeau's still
You were
doing it too.
8-man rotations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thibodeau is doing it, and if
And
you're
Nick
getting
Nurse, I
compared
think,
with
as
Tom,
well.
if you're getting compared to Tom Thibodeau, that is not a great comparison, because while Thibodeau, I do think he's a good X's and O's coach, he's fucking crazy. He literally, I mean, he's like our middle school football coach, would just running players for no matter, like, oh, you missed a free throw, gashers, let's get it,
gassers.
let's go, coach. We're in the middle of an 82 game season. All right, do 2 then,
and then go play the whole game. No sub this game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Part of me wonders if like maybe Jalen's not getting more minutes because we want John out there
for trade
performing.
purposes.
Yeah, like showing what he's got. I mean,
It
I know
could
he has
also
like a
be
long
for
track record.
money
at this point,
purposes too. It could be like,
Yeah.
hey, we're paying him this much money not to
All
sit
right.
on the bench. But yeah,
In the Raptors game, I know these are just box scores and they don't tell you the whole picture, so take these all with a grain of salt. But the Raptors game, Jalen Johnson played 19 minutes. He scored 9 points, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists. John Collins played 9 more minutes than him, 28 minutes, had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. So in 9 less minutes, Jalen Johnson had 1 more assist, only 2 less rebounds, and 2 less points. Like they play differently. Jalen Johnson's more of a ball.
Yeah.
He's like more of a point forward. Like he can actually dribble the ball, which I think helps this team with more shot creation that John Collins just can't do. So I don't know. I see John Collins being moved, and I think it's going to be. I hate it because I like John Collins, but I think it's about time. Like this narrative needs to be done. I'm tired of the Hawks being in national media about the wrong things.
Yeah. I mean, not the first time JC has been crucified by the media.
But,
I
just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
All right.
But it also sucks just to finish that off, is like,
please,
talking about how Blake was talking about how the national media views us. It sucks even more because I feel like for some reason, I'm not exactly sure, but other than lack of success, that could just be it. But the Hawks, more so than any other Atlanta or Georgia team, are like viewed as a poverty franchise and have been for as long as I can.
They're like the ugly stepchild of the NBA.
It's like even back when the Hawks were the number 1 seed in the playoffs,
nobody
people
believed it.
Yeah, nobody. I mean, and that team was good, and they did go to the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's the only Hawks team amongst other good Hawks teams where people haven't just been like, yeah, but they're the Hawks.
Give us an NFL team equivalent of like what the Hawks are. Like the Jags.
They win more than the Jags, though. That's the thing, is the Hawks are consistently a playoff team. They kind of remind me like the Chargers, like where
Vikings.
No, I think I'd go more with Chargers. Yeah,
Chargers were like they're always in the hunt, but they get disrespected by everyone. But they kind of deserve the disrespect a lot of times, because I think the Hawks do sometimes deserve the disrespect. But at the same time, it's just like if they just change the narrative a little bit about the team, it would change everything. And Brandon Staley might be under the same effect because. I mean, I was talking about how much I think he's a bad coach recently.
Speaking of that, to this point of us, declaring them the Chargers, do y'all remember that year? I can't remember when it was. It was maybe like within the last 5 years, but the Chargers had the number 1 offense in the NFL and the number 1 defense in the NFL, and they did not make the playoffs.
And they were like 8-8 or something like that.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. That's insane.
It's almost as crazy as getting 4 interceptions and a fumble recovery in the first half of a playoff game and then losing. They just did that.
They just did that. There's back in the day, you guys remember when we were younger, Blake, I don't think you were born. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Who's that?
Right. Yeah, no, the Phil Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson Chargers. They went 14-2 one year. Best team in the NFL record-wise.
Lost first.
Got the first round bye, and then they got blown out in the second round by, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was the Patriots.
LT and I had the same birthday.
Poor Chargers.
Hell yeah.
Year and all. I'm just kidding.
Weird.
Weird. I don't understand that word.
Than we thought.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about football already, we want to pivot.
Yeah, let's pass it on over. Falcons. Before we go in the Falcons, I do want to talk about the playoffs. I want to tell y'all some scores, guys. about some important games. So 49ers play the Seahawks. Brock Purdy continues his domination. They won 41-23.
Hell yeah.
I'll capitulate. The Seahawks made it to the playoffs. And I bet Geno Smith lands a decent deal next year. Honestly, he has to. He's like a top 10. Like he's a top 10 quarterback statistically. Yeah,
he's going to be a free agent.
Oh,
I saw a hypothetical trade where Seahawks and the Ravens swap Lamar and Geno plus some picks.
Yeah,
I could see it. It wouldn't be bad, actually.
I don't know. Pete Carroll doesn't invest in quarterbacks. He's told us that.
You're right. I mean, look what he did with Geno Smith. Yeah. But Brock Purdy put up 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. Let me just say this. I think Brock Purdy's great. Like, I do think he's playing really well. But also, that offense just has the weapons. Like, it would be like you had to step up to the plate, but it would be like stepping into the Seattle or to the San Francisco offense. Like, it's high powered. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it shows a lot in the NFL. It might not necessarily matter the quality of quarterback or like being elite tier. If you are in a good system, it'll work. I mean, the Seahawks, the team we just talked about, they have a good system, and that's why we see quarterbacks succeed there.
I don't want to discredit Brock Purdy. He's been phenomenal, though. He's actually been like exceptional. Yeah. So I don't want to discredit him.
Yeah, something that just kind of light bulb moment for me. The Pete Carroll thing, honestly, this year, you know how we've talked about in the past about how we don't really value running backs. Like, we talk about that all the time with not drafting them above like the 5th round or something. I think it's such a baller move that Pete Carroll thinks that way about quarterbacks.
He's an alpha man.
It's weird though. He refused to run the ball in that Super Bowl. Maybe that changed his mind on everything. He just realized then he's like, oh, I had beast mode and I could have ran that in. Yeah. Weird. Next game, the Giants beat the Vikings 31-24, proving that the Vikings were indeed frauds that we all thought they were.
And Kirk Cousins himself being a fraud. Did y'all see that 4th and 8 play?
Oh, where he did the check down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was 4th and 8 to keep the game alive, and he threw well short of the sticks.
Nothing bothers me more than seeing a game on the line, 4th
check down.
4th. Yeah, and they check down before like the first down marker. Why?
Yeah. Why?
Like
and
he was he's wide open.
Yeah, that's the thing. If he's wide open, that's one thing. Maybe you're thinking he's going to make somebody miss. But no, he threw 3 or 4 yards behind the line to gain, and the man was covered. Like, he got hit immediately
as soon as he caught the ball.
Kirk's only defense was he was also about to get sacked too.
True, but just throw it the fuck up.
Yeah, throw it up
in the air down the field.
I was trying to watch it earlier, and I was like, maybe he thought he could beat the guy, but the guy was all over him, so I don't see how that's going to happen.
No. He's been watching too much Mariota game tape.
Yeah,
and I might need to capitulate. Maybe the Vikings are just soft. But I might capitulate about Daniel Jones. Like, he put up 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and ran for 78 in the game against the Vikings. And he has no receivers.
About Daniel Jones?
I need to capitulate.
I was about to say, I'm going to start.
Now you're throwing words at me. You're throwing words at me I don't understand. I'm going to take that as a threat.
I need to take the knee. I need to take the knee.
I'm taking it as disrespect.
I noticed it last episode. I'm going to start counting the amount of times Blake says capitulate. I think we're at 6.
I need to bow. I'm trying to come up with phrases where I need to show this guy some respect. Dude, his best receiver is Isaiah Hodgins. That's what I'm trying to say.
He wasn't even relevant like during fantasy season. I don't feel like
Danny Dimes is. I don't know. Maybe he's the man. We'll see. Or maybe the Giants are doing what they always do, and every 8 years they go and win a Super Bowl.
Did y'all see the Statue of Liberty that Daniel Jones did though?
No, I did not.
It was well executed. He did. You know what I'm talking about with the Statue of Liberty, right? The trick play.
Oh,
yes, that was the top.
I thought you were talking about like a celebration where he's just stood there.
Oh, no. The actual trick play. It was pretty sick. Reminded me of Jared Zabransky in Boise State. I mean,
that's another prime example of Brian DeBall came in there, being with the Bills. He kind of brought his system over.
Another Saban prodigy.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Daniel Jones had struggled. Looking like he was not longed for this league beforehand, and now
resurrected.
Now he's going to the second round of the playoffs, and he's going to have a career.
He looks good.
And Saquon Barkley staying healthy shows how good he is too. Like, that's just how important it is to have that guy healthy for their team, especially when they have no receivers going. And their defense is solid.
Also, I saw something that I cannot get out of my head. It was a tweet. You know that annoying ass Burger King commercial the NFL will not stop playing.
Yes.
It was like the Whopper commercial, but with Saquon. And I just can't stop hearing Saquon. It's
Saquon.
It's stuck in my head, and I need it out.
And I need it out now.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about. I didn't watch any football really this past week, and like I kind of forgot about that commercial. But now, like as soon as you said that Burger King commercial, the melody just hit my brain.
Yeah.
I
mean,
no way.
They did a great job on it, but
Yeah.
damn, is it annoying in my opinion.
That's the most Burger King's been talked about in years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Bengals played the Ravens. Ravens without Lamar Jackson. They only lost by 7. This is a game that showed if Lamar Jackson was there, the Ravens would have probably won.
Oh, definitely.
The craziest part about this, I think, is maybe we're seeing the end for Lamar in Baltimore.
What are y'all's thoughts on Lamar's injury situation? Is this like a contract dispute disguised as an injury, or is it legit?
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah,
which makes it more just the contract dispute.
I think he's doing the right thing. If you're not going to give him the money and you want him to go out there and risk him, and like RG3, I saw this recently. Like RG3 had that same injury, and he went out there and tried to play in the playoffs, and he never played again after that. So he never became the same RG3 again. So my thing is, good for him. If the team's not willing to give you that long-term contract, and there's a risk of you re-injuring that and then missing out on a lot of money, don't play. I have no problem with this.
Fair enough.
He owes the team nothing.
No,
at this point,
zero. Literally, he didn't even choose to go there. They chose him.
Literally. Bills beat the Dolphins 34-31. This was a weird one. The Bills were up 17-0 at one point. Dolphins battled back and scored 17 points within 7 minutes to tie it up at halftime.
Mike McDaniel using like his third string quarterback also.
Yeah, their 7th round pick.
Skylar Thompson out of now granted, Skylar is more talented than Tua, because Tua is just asshole in my opinion. But otherwise,
Tua put up decent numbers though. I'll say this.
He has the best receiving core in the NFL, Blake.
True.
God.
But I will say this: they didn't play that well that day. So Skylar actually would have had great numbers if Tua and Waddle caught some balls, but he ended up with not the best numbers.
Yeah,
you said Tua and Waddle.
Sorry. Sorry, Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
Tua took one too many head injuries. He's out there playing receiver.
I mean, the Dolphins ended up 9-9 after this. But like, it's incredible that they were it was going around that they might fire Mike McDaniel.
God. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because they did the same shit to Brian Flores. He went 10-6 and they fired Brian Flores.
Dude.
It's just
poverty franchises just do poverty things.
I mean, there's just the fucking owner, Stephen Ross. He's just an absolute dolt.
An absolute dolt. And then probably the best game of the weekend would be the Jaguars-Chargers game. Chargers, honestly, helping out our Falcons by having an awful blowout, our come from behind loss. So they were up 27-0 right before half.
Oof.
Jags, in the first half, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. So this is why I'm saying Brandon Staley's in hot water. One, he lost Mike Williams to injury the week before because he played all of his starters in the game. He didn't have to win. He had 3 injuries, including Mike Williams missing and a couple other players hurt, missing half the week.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, in this game, they go up 27-0. And in the second half, they can't run the ball. They can't, and they don't let Josh Herbert throw the ball beyond 10 yards this season for some reason. Josh Herbert, the last 3 or 4 seasons has been an air raid offense. They don't let him throw the ball farther than
I think it was Mina Kimes showed in the second half his average depth of target was 9 yards.
Yeah, they're playing conservatively as hell.
Yeah, and then on top of that, to your point about Brandon Staley, did y'all see the comparison of what each head coach, Doug Peterson versus So they asked Brandon Staley, "Hey, so what did the Jags do after halftime that was so different that allowed this to happen?" And he was like, "Nothing. They didn't do anything differently. It's just, and he kind of tried to take the route of it was just us not putting in the effort type thing." And then they showed the clip from Doug Peterson. They asked him the same question. They were like, "What did you guys do differently?" And he immediately gave him the answer.
The hurry up. He says,
he was like, "Oh, it was a tempo change. We started moving the ball faster. We started doing, less huddles, getting to the line of scrimmage quicker."
It's a bad look.
And it's like, that's it right there. That's why they came back, is because one coach made an adjustment and the other one didn't even
failed to see it.
Notice it.
Yes.
This is a good example of a coach that should probably be fired after making the playoffs.
Yes.
He's done this. He didn't make the playoffs last year, or maybe the last couple.
They choked the
always
playoffs
close,
last year,
and they don't make it, and they lose close games, and then they blow this game.
big time.
This is a situation that, like, I don't know, Sean Payton would work very well, I think, ironically, just because of the history there with the trades and stuff with New Orleans.
Have you ever heard of a team lose a playoff game or even any game when they won the turnover battle 5-0?
I don't know how
No.
you do that. I don't know.
5-0.
Because even in the 28-3, I think the Falcons only forced 1 or maybe 2 turnovers.
Right, exactly. And they had turnovers as force as well. Like we had
Yeah,
this
I think we fumbled.
fumble.
Yeah, we fumbled it once. So it might have just been one. It might have just been the Robert Alford pick 6 that was our only takeaway that game. I know we sacked Tom a few times, but either way, yeah. So even in that crazy comeback, we weren't winning the turnover battle like they were. I mean, that's crazy.
The Jags outran them 117 yards, 67, outthrew them 273 to 253. Like, and they threw 4 interceptions and had 1 fumble. Like, that's the craziest part. And you can't score more points off of 5 turnovers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And great composure, by the way, from Trevor Lawrence to shake off that awful first
4
half.
interceptions.
I mean, throwing 4 picks is like benchable shit. Not when you're the number 1 overall pick and you're the golden child, but still benchable shit. And yeah, he comes right back out there like nothing happened and just, leads one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history.
I mean, shout out to Doug Peterson, too. Like, the turnaround the Jags have had from Urban Meyer to him is incredible. And, like, the fact that he got fired from the Eagles is pretty crazy.
It's laughable.
Out for the Eagles because they're super good, and Nick Sirianni's working out for them.
He is.
But, yeah, it's wild that, like, he wasn't in the league for a year.
Yeah, and it was only because of dispute with the owner.
It was.
From what I understand, Doug did not want Jalen Hurts, and the owner did.
No.
And
which now looks kind of dumb because Jalen Hurts
yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying he's a bad coach for that. He could have found another solution. But
I saw another great tweet about this. Someone was like, "Look, if Doug Peterson wins championships in Philadelphia and Jacksonville, he's the greatest football coach in all of history, like just hands down." I mean, that's just
sorry, Bill, move aside.
Yeah, and Saban, just any level, just Doug.
Yeah. Well, Dougie P is the one that beat Bill in the Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
True, yeah,
it's hard not to root for the Jags either because they're very underdog, just like the Falcons, really.
And so for tonight's game, who do you think will win? Cowboys, Buccaneers.
I'm going Bucks actually.
I like that
because we talked about it weeks ago. We were like, Tom Brady is gonna luck into another fucking Super Bowl because he's playing this shit division. They're going to go 8-9 and make the playoffs. And then they're going to face quarterbacks by the name of Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones. And he's just going to go back.
Is this a home game for the Bucks?
It is.
Because they were the division winner. Yeah. How crazy. That's another crazy thing.
And Dak's been so bad to end the season.
Jags got to host that game too is wild.
I don't love the Cowboys, but I hope that they win. And hopefully gets Tom out of the division next year.
I actually want to see the Cowboys lose because I think it's funny. Like, I really just think that's funnier.
Yeah, that will be funny. It'll be funny either way.
It's either funny either way. Exactly.
Yeah. I hate the Cowboys. I think Dak sucks. So for me,
I hate the Cowboys. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I like Dak.
Speaking of raising expectations, let's hop into that Falcons talk. And so the first thing I want to do here is I want to talk about Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith and how we feel like they have done these first 2 years. What was our grade from year 1 to year 2? And how are we feeling going forward? And to start this off, I want to talk about I want to go over Terry Fontenot's picks. So last year, Kyle Pitts in round 1, Richie Grant, round 2, Jalen Mayfield, round 3, not a good one. Darren Hall, round 4, Drew Dahlman, round 4, Taquan Graham in round 5. Adetokunbo, how do you say his last name? Ajowaji? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
OJ. He plays D-line. Avery Williams and then Frank Darby. And then this year, Drake London, Arnold Adebayo, Troy Anderson, Desmond Ridder, D'Angelo Malone, Tyler Algier, Justin Schaefer, and John Fitzpatrick. Let's talk about what are the biggest miss I think of the two.
Grade them?
Yeah, I think Jalen Mayfield's your biggest miss between the 2 years. You got a third-round guard who hasn't done anything and didn't even play this year, which I think was good for him. I'm glad he didn't play. I think it was best for the team for not to see him play this year. But let's talk about what you got from these. You got Drew Dahlman, your starting center, Kyle Pitts starting tight end, Richie Grant starting safety, Tyler Algier's your new running back 1, Desmond Ridder's your quarterback 1 potentially, Troy Anderson's starting middle linebacker now, Drake London starting wide receiver.
It feels like year 2 was much more successful than year 1 to me.
Yeah.
It's not about what we got. It's about what maybe we didn't get with the Kyle Pitts take.
Right. I see that.
Pick, but
I see that. I think Richie Grant's proving to be a playmaker. Like I think he is going to be a great safety for us. I really like Darren Hall as a backup cornerback. He's been great. Avery Williams now being our return man / running back has been an awesome switch from cornerback. I think you missed out on Frank Darby. You missed out on the Jalen Mayfield. You can't say much about Justin Schaefer, John Fitzpatrick this year because they both stayed on practice squad all year, which I think they're great value practice squad guys to have, and maybe they'll do something next year. Because I liked Justin Schaefer in college for UGA. I thought he was a great offensive lineman.
Damn near killed her.
So, Blake, I'm going to go ahead and give you my take. The biggest miss of the draft so far in Fontenot's career is Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I think not taking Penei Sewell there has been disastrous. I'm not saying Kyle is bad. I do like having Kyle on the team.
Right.
But it's just a take that, that I've reiterated. I think that if you're going to draft a guard and a tight end, and one of them is going to be in the first round and the other one's going to be in the third round, the tight end needs to be the third rounder.
Yeah, I get that. For
what if it's Brock Bowers?
But for Penei Sewell, real quick though,
maybe we don't draft a guard and it's just tight end and it's Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
He could play guard too.
But for Penei Sewell, real quick, doesn't he play tackle?
Well, yeah, true. He does play tackle.
And right now,
but still something.
But my thing is, Jake Matthews and Caleb McGarry have both been Caleb McGarry was a top 5 right tackle this year.
Sure, and I would rather have had Penei than either of them, though, in my opinion.
Right, I see what you're saying. I think for Kyle Pitts, for me, I don't think it's a complete loss. I would have rather gone Micah Parsons personally. That would have been who I would take. He went 11th. So
as far as impact to the team, that would have made a much larger impact on
the side
of the ball.
I would have rather had him, but Kyle Pitts for me, I'm okay with this pick because year 1, he set up 1,000 yards, had a great year. Year 2, he had no one to throw to him, so he can't prove how valuable he is for the team yet. I think year 3 will be that year where it's going to be the make or break year, and I'll say after this year, I regret it or not.
And I totally agree with that. It's just the only thing that I'd say on the end of that would be, in year 1, you need to draft a position that isn't predicated on another position for your.
Well, it depends what your vision is, though. That's my thing.
No, I completely agree, Aaron, because his success is completely dependent on the quarterback position.
Right.
If you don't have a long-term quarterback, probably shouldn't be drafting these tight ends in the first or second round. But I do like Kyle. I think he's very talented.
He's a very good player.
He just got completely nerfed in the first half of the season, or the
and he didn't get a chance to have Ritter because he got hurt. Yeah,
that's what sucks is he didn't get to show Michael Pruitt put up really good numbers.
He did weirdly enough.
So our backup tight
the
end,
unicorn.
But, maybe that bodes well for how Ritter will use the tight end position next year. But as of right now, it's a.
I think on the
C
football
for year 1, but
I see what you're saying. In year 2, what would you give it? Well, hold on, but real quick, let me say about Kyle Pitts. I think vision wise, you could have a vision for Kyle Pitts that you're going to draft this guy and then you're going to re-sign him and you're going to make him a long-time Falcon, and it's cheaper than a wide receiver because it's a tight end and he can do the stuff a wide receiver can do. I could see a long-term vision where this works out for us. But I think, like you said, both said, I completely agree with you. In the short term, it doesn't make much sense.
Right.
In the long term, it could be. I could see it.
I got an idea. Let's draft this tight end, drive his value down to the dirt. Then we re-sign him for nothing, and then we have him for our rebuild.
Or you know what? Maybe it's like this. Maybe it's like Fontenot doesn't really like Arthur Smith. Maybe, and so maybe it's like, all right, you know what? Arthur Smith can get fired, but I'm probably going to get coaches. So I'll go ahead and draft this generational talent right now. And then when the next head coach gets here, he'll already have him ready to go.
There we go.
Drafted offensive lineman.
Sean McVay told him, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit from the Rams in 2024. So you just line this up perfectly for me, please.
Bring me right in.
Hey, Georgia boy. Don't forget it.
And maybe we just retain Art to be the offensive coordinator.
There we go. Yeah. He's a good offensive mind.
That wouldn't be weird at all.
We should have done it with Kyle Shanahan.
God, yes. Or Matt LaFleur. Either one. Anybody but Dan Quinn.
So let's also not forget in that year, back on to the Terry Fontenot train. He also signed Cordell Patterson in 2021, which, that's been a home run sign.
Yeah, that is quite literally a gem.
Yeah, a gem. Honestly, a gem. Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler last year, and this year he was still a fantastic player.
I
An
mean,
actual Pro
that's in
Bowler too,
tandem
not
with
like a
art.
returner
Yeah,
Pro
no, an
Bowler.
actual Pro Bowler.
No,
Yeah.
no offense to all the returners out there, but like a real
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In year two, we went over I said the names. How do y'all feel about the year two class? I think getting 1,000-yard runner, a receiver who could have easily put up 1,000 yards if you had a quarterback throwing to him all the year, and then the flashes I saw out of AK and Troy Anderson. I don't know. I think I give this like a A minus.
I'm gonna go B plus, and I agree with Hayden's C on the last draft. But yeah, I think much better here, and I think I like pretty much all the picks, even though I harshed on Drake London for a while. As far as the pick, same thing with Kyle Pitts, not the player. But I think the best one in this draft was getting Algier in the fifth. It was the fifth, right?
That's a steal.
Yeah, because it's exactly between the third and the fifth. We've talked about that's where you want to get your running back, and they did that on the low end of it in the fifth, and still he's going to be your starter next year.
Yeah, and I see this push on Falcons Twitter right now for Bijan still, the guy out of Texas, even though we had Algier, and their arguments like, yeah, but Bijan could do 2,000 all-purpose yards. My purpose is like, but you get Tyler Algier for a much cheaper price, and he's giving you great value, and you can mix in another running back with him and get that same production as a Bijan for half the price.
It's like those are Madden fans that also like the NFL. It's
yeah,
like
they just like the big numbers.
About drafting and free agency like they're in Madden.
And depth so important.
And in Madden, sure, get that star running back, whatever. I still wouldn't in Madden, but it makes more sense there.
Yeah, and wide receivers in Madden, you can just go speed wide receivers who have good hands. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's frustrating. Just like to hear that discourse a little bit,
especially after Tyler Algier puts up 1,000 yards. Yeah. I just
without even the starting role, like he didn't play much the first half of the year.
No,
really.
he wasn't the starter until like week 7. When did CPAC get hurt? Week 5, week 6,
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then some people got mad because if you also let's bring in the free agency class, we signed Marcus Mariota this year, Anthony Frisker, Rashawn Evans, Lorenzo Carter. We re-signed Cordell Patterson for 2 years, Casey Hayward, Eric Harris, Damian Williams, and we re-signed Younghoe Koo. We also brought in the Elijah Wilkinson, who was a great guard rotate for us. Colby Gossett, who was a great guard rotate for us. We re-signed Isaiah Oliver, who was good again when he came back from injury. And we got D. Alford from the Canadian Football League, and he was fantastic. And they just also there's new hype too about another guy we just signed from the CFL. He was a CFL Defensive Player of the Year, and there's another cornerback. We just signed him. Yeah, Terry's.
I like the creativity of like looking different places for some talent.
Yeah, so, he does a great.
It's very soccer.
It is. That's what it reminds me of. Maybe, yeah, it reminds me of that. So I would say based on his draft and his free agency signings this year, I'd give Terry an A for the year. Like I feel like he got so many good, talented players on 1-year deals to come in here when we didn't have much money to be able to get anything. And if you look at the roster pre-Terry, it's a much different roster in 2 years, much younger, much more pre-Terry, much more talented.
It's funny.
I was going back through old drafts today, and I was like looking, and I was like, all right, 2020, we got AJ Terrell, Marlon Davison, who got cut this year because he couldn't do anything. We got Hennessy, who he's been good, actually. He might be our guard next year. Michael Walker, who's now not starting anymore.
Yeah.
God, he was so bad. Jalen Hawkins, who I think we could upgrade over, honestly, as safety. And the year before that, we got Lindstrom and McGarry, and then the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks aren't even on the team anymore.
It feels like Art hurt Terry's outcome of some of these like moves that he's made just by not utilizing them the right way, or
it hurts
especially
Terry's,
like with the Ritter getting in so late in the year, which also led to Kyle Pitts not being used like hardly at all.
Right.
So I don't know. It might have looked better on Terry if some of these things are played differently.
Played out differently.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, 100% agree with that.
Is there strife in the front office and the head coach?
I don't think so, but it's a good point. Let's bring up now the Falcons' win-loss this year. Or let's just talk about coaching. How do y'all feel about Art after 2 years? We went 7-10, 2 years. Let me tell you something. I can tell you some of the improvements before unless you just want to give some raw takes, because there are some numbers that might surprise you.
Let us give it to him raw.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just say, it's probably going to surprise you, but I'd say overall, first 2 years, we're teeter-tottering between a C+ and a B-, in my opinion, for Arthur Smith.
That's right.
it's at some points I would have given it a lot lower rating. But I think overall, I mean, like I said last week, winning 14 games in your first 2 years is not something I would have expected out of Arthur Smith to start, especially given the roster that he was handed. But yeah, so certainly some things I don't agree with. I've expressed those time and time again. We don't have to rehash all that. But I also can sit back and recognize he is a very good play caller. He certainly has a system that he knows how to run and knows what he wants from it.
And it looks like it works.
Yeah, and it looks like it does work for the most part. I'd like to see it with better players in it. But yeah, I mean, that's why I think I'll go ahead and land on B- somewhere in there. I may have just talked myself into it, but yeah. So just because I don't agree with some of the draft picks, I don't agree with some of the moves he's made within the team.
How do you do those picks? Do you do 50-50, coach?
I think with every team it's differently, and for everything I've like some teams the head coach it has less weight and it's all the GM, and then some teams it's more the head coach, less the GM. I think on here it seems almost 50-50 just from the way that they've presented it. And it might be different behind closed doors, but I think that
Art definitely has a say.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got a say. But I think I've heard it in the past described as the head coach is the cook and the GM buys the groceries.
Yeah.
So it's probably a little bit of a mix.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. As far as like a grade, I mean B- is fair. I'll give it a C+ just for the hell of it. Just because he's a daddy's boy.
Yes, he is that.
But yeah, I mean, it's okay. Next year's make or break though.
Yes, big time.
Either
for sure.
We have to win the division, or if we win the division with like a 500 record, then you need to tack on a playoff win for me to be happy with it, or else I would let him go. Kind of like the Brandon Staley thing.
I mean, all things. Well, I'm gonna give a B, so I'm gonna be on the high end of the three of us. But my purpose is I was looking at the stats and I was actually kind of like I want to look at how much we progressed from last year to this year's team. Like how much better are we? So last year we finished with a negative 146 point spread. This year we finished with a negative 21 point spread. So like that was major growth. We finished 15 in the league in points. So we scored the 15th. Our offense went from 26th in the league last year to 15th in points this year. So we scored much more points than we did the year before. Yards, we moved up from 29 to 24. Our defense went from 29 to 23 in points allowed. And yards, we actually went down to 27th, but we gave less points.
Something I'd like to ask you real quick, Blake, to the offensive gain in rankings.
Yeah.
When you said that, it confused me because I was like, how? Like they looked about the same in points total. And then I thought about the fact that this year, like last year, we had the 3 single worst performances I've ever seen from maybe an NFL team ever. And they all happened to be last year for the Falcons.
Yeah, it was like 45-0.
Yeah, we got blanked by the Patriots. We got beat 34-3 in the first game, and then the 25-3 or 25-3 was the Patriots, I think.
Yeah.
But either way,
the Cowboys put like 45 against us, and
we didn't have those 3 games this year. So would you say maybe that the difference there in just not putting up 3s and 0s and putting up 20s and 25s is the difference there?
I think the difference this year is that we were much better. We played much better as a football team. We didn't get beat down in games where we played better team. Like our biggest loss.
I just meant the further offensive.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess scoring wise, but I think the reason that you see that though is because of the adjustment Art made. Like we weren't getting beat down this year. Well, the Bengals was our worst loss of the year. That was the only team we didn't lose, or we lost by more than 2 touchdowns, I think, right?
Yeah.
14, like
something like that. It certainly wasn't good, but it was the only one like that.
Yeah. I just think we played much better as a team as a whole. Like he just did a much better job.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we ended up with the same record, right?
We did.
Okay.
And I think you had more. And last year
it's just hard. It's hard to dissect that.
But here's the thing, Hayden. Last year we won 6. We were 6-1 in games that were 7 points or less. So 1-score games. We were 6-1. And this year we were like 3-8. So like that was the difference. Last year's team could win those games, but that's the only games we could win.
Right.
Yeah.
And every other game we
saw the last 2 games of the season. Those were determined by quarterback play, which, if you listen back to early days of Blursed when we were talking preseason, that's kind of what we thought the difference would be, is that we didn't have the caliber quarterback to win those type of games.
And so for me, that's why I give him a B. I would give because he didn't put Ritter in. Like, I can't really complain much about his coaching. Like, this year from last year, he did a much better job with his timeouts. I think he did a much better job with his play calling.
I agree.
There's a couple where I feel like he got cute earlier in the season.
But I don't think over Desmond completely his first start. That was like horrible.
I agree with that. I agree with that. It was bad. But what I'm trying to say about like this season, last season, I could point at some games and be like, Art, I think we lost this because of a couple of things you might have did, like that one close game. But this season, I couldn't blame Art for any of our losses where I'm like, Art, like that was not good. Like, I felt like a lot of times it was execution over play call that was causing us to lose.
I'm surprised and excited and heartened to hear you say B, because I'll be honest with you, Blake, I was sitting here mentally preparing myself for you to say everything you said and then go, so that's why I'm probably going to land around an A plus.
See, this is, I didn't know it at the time, but the reason I said C plus when I really thought it deserved a B minus was so it would average out.
Minus.
Right.
You got to get that B minus average.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he did disservice to Ritter though. I agree. He messed up that first game and then he also should have put Ritter in sooner, and he has direct control over that. So that's where I would knock him down, because I think we would see more wins this year. We put Ritter in sooner.
I would even, and I think I said it a couple weeks ago, I will even give Arthur Smith a small benefit of the doubt when it comes to, it's not his fault where the bye week happened to fall.
Oh, but it's awful luck on that.
And so maybe there's a chance that, because I could see myself making the same decision, albeit reluctantly, is that maybe after the first 2 or 3 weeks, he was like, Mariota's not that guy, but I don't want to throw my rookie quarterback in there with only 1 week of preparation.
Right.
So I have to wait for the bye week. And it just so happens to fall in
it's horrible timing. Yes. I agree with that.
Should have gone with the Thursday night though, because that's like an extended week.
That's very true. That's like
I think what screwed us there was the fact we were still in the playoff hunt, even though we shouldn't have been. Like that was like, so I'll give Art
laser beam.
Yeah,
laser beam. So I'll give. That's why
I'm doing the quotes. Playoff hunt.
Yes,
but we were a game out. Like that's the crazy part is, and so I give him the benefit of the doubt for both of those things. Yeah. And you also saw Ritter in his first 2 games did look a little lost out there. He looked like a rookie quarterback, and so if you think you have a chance to make playoffs,
if you're not here for Falcons takes and Austin Powers references, I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. I don't know what you're doing.
I don't even know why you're here. All right.
Just kidding. Please keep listening.
Run, Mr. Powers. Fly. Okay.
So yeah, I think it's fair to give him a B minus average, and I think we'll talk about expectations coming as we get closer to like post draft, as we get closer to training camp. But I think overall, I'd give the team a B. For
that's fair.
Where we're at.
Nice average.
Yeah, nice average. Yeah. So for our Falcons needs going into free agency, I have marked the biggest needs as defensive line. I put linebacker as number 2. I don't know how y'all feel about that. I put wide receiver.
Let me throw this at you. Why don't me and Hayden go first, because you have the more comprehensive list.
I was just going over Falcons needs.
No, I know. I'm just saying when we get there.
Yes.
Let's go this way.
I agree. I agree. I just agree. Tell me if y'all disagree with any of these. So my big five, like in Madden, they'll tell you like your team's big 5 needs. So mine were defensive line, linebacker, wide receiver, offensive line, and I put safety / cornerback. I feel like you could upgrade it either one and it'd help out overall. Mm-hmm. Do y'all have any disagreements or think?
No, I mean,
I see quarterback on some people's lists for Falcons, and I get it.
I believe in quarterback depth, and that's why I have a small list of backup quarterbacks or people to compete.
I like that.
Just because we've seen what that can do for a team. They can stay in the hunt at the very least with a capable backup, not Mariota. But I think I would raise wide receiver need a little bit higher just because we traded Calvin Ridley and because Kyle Pitts coming off the injury. We just need depth there of like actual talent.
Listen to our depth chart right now. It's Drake London, Olamide Zaccheaus, Damiere Byrd, Cardell Hodge, Frank Darby. Like 3 through 5.
Zaccheaus and Byrd are both free agents too.
Zaccheaus, Byrd, and both Zaccheaus and Byrd. You're right, both those two. Yeah. And
So
tight end wise, Frisker and Michael Pruitt are both free agents too. So I'm hoping we bring
Frisker.
back Michael
Barely
Pruitt.
know her.
That's two this week. Love it. Yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Aaron? What do you think about positions of need?
Yeah, so I think that I've for a long time been in the camp of like treating wide receivers similarly to running backs, and that like it should be one of the last things you get to put your team together. But I think the Falcons are in a very unique situation with their wide receiving core being just awful outside of Drake London and Kyle Pitts. So yeah, I think that is a higher need than I would definitely have put in the past. Otherwise, everything you said, I think I
Yeah.
fully agree with.
And we're not endorsing a first round pick for wide receiver,
No,
everybody. We're not talking about the draft today, but when we do talk about the draft,
free agency.
we're talking about free
Now,
agency.
the problem with this free agency is, from what I saw, it is not good for wide receivers. Juju is a free agent.
Well, let me tell you my top
That's
tier.
about all I saw.
Let me start off. My top tier wide receiver, for me, this isn't like the top tier, like he's the best wide receiver, but who I would be interested in is Mecole Hardman, actually, from the Kansas City Chiefs.
You. Fuck
Was on your list? Was on your list?
Number one.
No! We talked about this, Blake. Me and
All right,
Hayden,
tell
go
us
first.
why. Tell us
Okay,
why, Hayden.
God.
Tell us why.
Well, he just fills the gap. So we don't need to go out and get the best free agent wide receiver, and we don't need to draft a first-round pick wide receiver, because that's Drake London. He's proven he can do that, and we have Kyle Pitts. Those are the superstars. We need to fill a gap. We need to be able to spread the ball down the field, and that's what Mecole can do. He's top-tier speed. He may not have come through the way they had hoped in Kansas City, but that doesn't mean he can't. He's still young. He's like 24, 25 years old.
25, yeah.
And he has had huge moments. I mean, he came through big on the year they won the Super Bowl. I mean, he was a huge part of that offense.
Yeah, and look at the way Art uses Avery Williams. Like me, I think he could do some fun stuff with Mecole Hardman. Like, because as long as he's a key, he isn't fast enough to do anything. Punts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but he just fits in. Like Drake isn't the best at getting deep down the field. He can go up over the top of players and make a catch. That's with his size, but that's not Mecole's game. He's going to beat guys and get downfield, and then I think that'll open up Ritter a little bit down the field.
Absolutely,
open up stuff underneath and help the running game, so people just can't sit on it.
And just for people out there who don't know, like Mecole Hardman is not even the top wide receiver in this year's free agency either. So like we can maybe get him for a good deal, because like Jacoby Myers is out there, you have Juju Smith-Schuster's out there, and some more that would be ahead of him money wise. So I agree. I think it's a good value hit. And I don't want to invest, like Aaron just said, I don't want to invest a ton of money in these wide receivers. These are like the pieces we don't have. Heck, we could give them a 1-year prove-it deal. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with recycling speed wide receivers on 1-year prove-it deals.
Well, get him back in Georgia and see what he can put together. I mean, sometimes it's a comfort thing. And he's comfortable in the state. But, I mean, Juju was on the list of, like, the top free agent.
Did you have any other wide receivers on your list? Because I had 2 others.
Yeah, I had 2 other speed guys. Darius Slayton, he's proven that he can get open downfield. And I know you tweeted something about it, like future Falcon, Darius Slayton. I was like, that actually – I don't know why the Giants don't want to play him, but, like, every year he just comes back and, like, is wide open downfield. And then DJ Chark also has the ability to get downfield. And then as depth pieces, there's a lot of good depth pieces. There's not like the superstar wide receiver this year, really. I put Greg Dortch. He's
restricted.
Oh, he's okay.
So they could re-sign him, and I'm worried they will, because Greg Dortch would have been like one of my tops, because like he's looked so good out of the slot this year.
Yeah, he was really good. So the rumors are that Hopkins is going to get traded from Arizona.
So I think they re-sign him.
They may hold on to Dortch if that's the case. And then I also put Marquez Callaway just to take him away from the Saints. I don't know.
What would you think about Jarvis Landry? I had him as just a veteran depth. I don't know how much he would cost though. Like, would he be expensive?
He probably wouldn't be that expensive, but I think I would rather invest in younger
guys.
Yeah,
that's just my general technique. But less injury, probably cheaper.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's my wide receiver list.
Aaron, all right. So as we go on from wide receiver, defensive line, and do either one of y'all have some defensive linemen?
Almost the entirety of mine resides on the lines.
If you could get to your top target defensive lineman, who is it?
My top target? Well, so I've got a scenario planned out that I'll tell you about. But yeah, so if you're asking me like my straight up number one guy that I would want, would probably be Robert Quinn.
Oh.
Honestly, and I know he's on the older side of things, but what the scenario I could see happening would be we get Robert Quinn, okay? Then we address the offensive side of the ball. I want a tackle because Caleb McGarry is going to be a free agent, right?
Yeah,
So I think
I have him on my list.
I would let Caleb McGarry go and sign one of either Mike McGlinchey or Orlando Brown.
Really?
Yes, I would.
What if
Just
you
an
can get
upgrade.
Caleb? But here's my thing. What if you can get McGarry for the cheapest of the three?
Well, okay, so then, well, because it comes, I mean, yeah. So I don't know. Let me finish that because I got three big wish guys,
I see what you're saying.
both linemen. Now, I'll take a little dip down in town a little bit because I think this guy within the defensive line would be like a second tier dude, maybe even the third tier. But Zach Allen from the Cardinals.
Oh, he's on my list as a if we swing and miss.
Yeah, so I would see Zach Allen going well with Grady. He would probably
he had his best year this last year, and he learned a lot under JJ Watt. So
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like he took tutelage from JJ. He had his highest run defense grade of his career. And I think he had it was something like he had an 8.3% pressure rate on times that he rushed the quarterback, which is pretty good. So anyway, I think if we could string together some sort of combo of Zach Allen, maybe Mike McGlinchey or Caleb McGarry, and then also if we could get a big edge rusher like Robert Quinn. Yeah.
I like that. So that's where your money would go.
That's where I'm addressing the lines. You guys know me.
Yeah.
That's where I'm swinging for.
It's crazy that the Falcons have this unique spot where we could actually just sign a lot of good free agents. Don't go for any of the big name ones, but just sign a bunch of good ones and use it because we have a ton of money to spread out if we wanted to.
Right.
So there is a scenario where we go all depth because Zach Allen's one of those guys who I think you could get for probably a little less than some of these bigger names, but could probably bring you equal value. So I'm kind of, I don't know what Terry's going to do with the money. I don't know if he's going to go for one big guy, one big hit, money wise. Because for me, my actually first defensive line, if I could pick, would be Darian Payne.
Oh man, god damn it! All right, when you were done talking, I was gonna be like, also honorable mention. Yeah, but no,
yeah, he's my number one because I think he'd be a monster next to Grady. I think personally, I like a lot of the edge we have that are younger. I think we still need to improve there, but I'd love for us to re-sign Lorenzo Carter for a cheaper deal. I liked what he did this year. I like our Arnold Akebi, and I like D'Angelo Malone. I think they can get to the quarterback more next year. I think if you put another disruptor next to Grady Jarrett, if they don't know how to control the interior of the line, we're going to get more pressure on the outsides.
And if we could get someone like Deron Payne and one of those top tackles, I would love that. It's just, to me, I think if you wanted to flow more money, it would be at the offensive line, only because, and us being here in Georgia, we just saw it for the past 2 years. Football is so beautiful when you have a good offensive line, and you don't even think about it that often because if you were to point to one thing that led to Georgia's back-to-back national championships on the offensive side of the ball, it's the offensive line. Stetson Bennett doesn't have this miraculous movie story, fairy tale story. If it wasn't for being able to throw the ball as much as he was afforded to by that offensive line. And the same thing can be done in the NFL. And I think that's why most of our money needs to be.
Did you know the Falcons offensive line was top 10 this year?
No, I know. They played a whole lot better. And it's the reason we looked a lot better.
Right.
That offensive line is.
I'm with you, though. We got to re-sign Chris Lindstrom. We need to extend him and make him the highest paid guard in the league. I agree with that. And I think we need either re-sign Caleb McGarry.
Definitely bring back Lindstrom, of course.
I agree with you. We could go for one of the other tackles. I really like what McGarry did this year. And if he's willing to give us a little bit of a discount for us, like playing for the Falcons and pushing him, I don't know. I don't know if he will, though. I don't know if he'll feel jaded because we didn't sign the fifth year. I don't know. But I would like to. I'm with you. I want to.
I would. I'm not gonna take a discount if I'm Caleb McGarry at all.
I'm saying just less money than the other two guys. I don't know who get paid most. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he would get paid the least of those three of the people we mentioned.
Well, give him to me. And I liked what Matt Hennessy was doing, so I don't know if we need to address guard. I would like to see. Chase, or not Chase, Hayden, do you have any?
Wow.
I just saw Chase Saturday.
Shout out Chase.
Wow.
Yeah. Lucky you saw Chase.
Brag much.
Still handsome.
And
still
he's texting me earlier too. Yeah, he's both.
Oh, and he's texting you.
Yeah, man. We're talking about The Last of Us. Y'all watch that yet?
Not yet, no.
Ooh,
okay,
I had that on the radar for today. Chase, just so you know, I shredded some gnar this weekend.
Yeah, he'd be proud. He'd be really.
No way.
That's a skiing
he
reference.
hears that.
No,
Yeah,
no,
that's
no.
all
I know. Clip it and we'll send it to him.
In case I ever
Well,
die,
he's
he
not
can
gonna
comes
watch
back
it.
to this episode,
Yeah.
and I spoke directly to him.
Yeah, he
Yes,
will.
So
exactly.
I wanted to hit on a couple of more items. Backup quarterback. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in the season. To be good to bring in somebody to compete with Ritter or to push him.
How competitive do you want that battle?
Stetson Bennett
Well,
competitive.
let me tell you a couple of
That's
these
how.
names. Well, that's actually interesting.
I would love that.
I don't hate that at all.
Yeah,
but,
let's do it.
Some of these other backups that are like proven on the NFL level of like being better than Mariota, guys that got in this year: Mike White, Gardner Minshew, Taylor Heineke.
I'm taking all those.
Matt Ryan.
Oh boy.
Really?
He hasn't retired yet. Let him come in. So that's not one that is going to push to be the starter because that time is done.
Right.
But like, if he's not starting somewhere else, let him come back and mentor. It seemed like he was more than happy to do that in Indianapolis.
It was, yeah.
If he would come back for a year and mentor Desmond Ridder in a way that Mariota obviously didn't.
Do you think that would happen?
Plus, I think it could. I think he wants to retire Falcon. I want him to retire Falcon. I love what Hayden's saying. And then maybe just slide him in as the offensive coordinator. I mean, can't you see that?
Yeah.
Can we not? Matt Ryan is like he already looks like Kyle Shanahan kind of anyway. I mean, he is going to be a coach. I will put my money on it. So yeah, I love what Hayden just said there. I think
wow, I hadn't thought about that.
I hadn't either.
Hey, if he's going to be a backup somewhere, yeah, I mean, might as well be at home, right?
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
Absolutely.
And then I'm gonna dip into the coaches realm real quick because there's been some rumors flying around. Defensive coordinator obviously has opened up after Dean Pease retirement.
Yeah.
There's a couple names floating around. Brian Flores, the former coach of the Dolphins, and he was defensive coordinator of the Patriots before that.
Question real quick.
Yes, Blake, you.
When hiring
you in the
the
front.
defensive coordinator, do y'all want someone like a Flores where it'd be maybe one season then he goes to coach, or would you want someone who's younger who also maybe has a high potential?
I want proven.
Okay.
The defense is playing well already. I don't want somebody to come in and fuck that up. I want somebody that's going to like stay the course.
Getting it better, make it better. All right, I like that.
The other option I had was Vic Fangio. He did an excellent job with the Broncos. He kind of got fucked over there as well because their upper management is a shit show too. But yeah, so between those two guys, apparently Fangio is interviewing with the Panthers already. So those are the two guys that I would love to have come in and try to pick up where Dean Pease was, even if they ship out of town in 1 to 2 years, or if things don't go well, they're also interim coach.
Yeah,
right.
And
True.
so to further Hayden's point, I think the fact that they might be those dudes to leave, if we have success and they would bolt to another head coaching job, that's fine because it's a make or break a year for Art next year.
Anyways,
no matter what.
so he needs to win.
So,
so
if you don't hire one of those guys and you get fired, what is
they're going to take your job? Yeah, right. So I would love to see Flores. Oh my God, I see the Falcons have put out requests to a ton of different good candidates, like to their teams, to request permission to interview them. So
yeah,
interview for the interviews.
Get the old CV out there.
That's all the takes that I have. So
I like those quarterback ones. That was cool.
One thing I want to bring up, just because we talked about Matt Ryan, is you know what I haven't seen that I don't want to see, but I'm curious as to why we haven't. Matt Ryan gets this just insanely unfair hate for the 28-3 thing, and he got it when they had the even worse collapse with the Colts earlier this year. Did I maybe I missed it, but I didn't see anybody give any of that hate to Justin Herbert. Again, Justin Herbert doesn't deserve that hate, but why is it levied against one quarterback and not another?
Yeah, everyone else.
And I think the reason is because he played for Atlanta.
Well, for Herbert, it's poor him. That's exactly exactly. People are sticking up for him.
I've seen way more people be like, oh man, it sucks that he plays for this team. They're screwing his early part of his career over, and Matt Ryan's got to be sitting there like, what the fuck are you guys?
Matt Ryan's like, I made this team the best they've ever been. The best they've ever been.
I
showed up. Okay.
I don't think Brandon Staley's like completely demolished Herbert's career. He's a stud, and like some of these other locations you can land as a rookie quarterback that can fuck your career. Like, probably the Jets. Sorry, Frank, but that typically does it. Usually the Browns. Shout out Baker Mayfield. But
Yeah.
I mean,
hasn't he had a season without Brandon Staley though? Like, isn't this?
maybe
don't
his
think so.
first season. This is his
I think it's
third year.
first, right?
Was it his first? Well, okay, maybe.
Yeah. So because Brandon Staley's first year was last year.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
then yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at his numbers real quick. So yeah, he threw more yards and touchdown. Wait, hold up. He threw more yards this year and than his first year, but he threw more touchdowns his rookie year than he did this year. He only threw 25 this year.
Yeah, that has to do with his talent
He
surrounding
got
him,
sacked
though.
more times this year.
His top 2 wide receivers were out for like 2/3 of the year.
Yeah.
He's thrown to backup.
He still
wide
threw for
receivers.
4,700 yards. Like,
He's a stud. So maybe
He's
they'll
so
find
fucking
somebody
good.
else to bring in there. But anyways, yeah, like quarterback should never be blamed. Like there's a part in that, but like the same way one player doesn't win a game, one player doesn't lose a game either, especially
Yeah.
a blowout. Like a lot of things have to go wrong to blow a lead.
Yes.
oh, for sure.
And a lot of
Most
them are
it-
on defense.
Most of it's on the coach, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
Yeah.
Because
so-
we already touched on it. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
one team making adjustments and the other team not.
Yep.
Or not even fucking noticing.
I'm glad to hear for quarterbacks that we're all on the same page that we don't really want to go out and get one of these big name quarterbacks like
Tom Brady.
Yeah,
He'll be
or
he'll
Lamar
be a
Jackson, Derek Carr. Like there's a bunch of quarterbacks you could go for, but I think I'm in the same boat. I'd rather get one of these people that can compete.
Where's
But
Tom gonna go?
I think Vegas is like the favorite right now.
He's trying to walk into like the same situation he walked into when he went
Yes.
to Tampa Bay. He wants to
Right.
just walk in. That's the
And
only
win.
missing piece there is,
Yeah.
and then win. So I mean,
Yeah.
Vegas
makes
could be.
sense.
But also, I don't know if Josh McDaniels is a good enough coach to
Right.
as a
But he
head
worked
coach
with
to do
Tom
it.
Brady though.
But he does have a relationship with
Yeah.
him, so maybe.
So I don't know. I could see it. Back for the free agency for me, I say for safety. The reason I put safety is because I'd love to see us go get Jesse Bates the third for the Bengals. He's just an incredible safety. He cost a lot of money, so I don't. If that'd be my big ticket splash, if we
Right.
went and got him. But I'd love to see that. I'd also love to see us like. I don't know the difference between who. I don't know who's our on-ball linebacker or off-ball linebacker. Like I don't know who's who for our team. I don't know if Troy Anderson's supposed to be the off-ball or I don't know how that works. I'm not.
So
Aaron-
Well, a lot of times, I mean, it just depends on the formation and how the defense lines up with the strong side or the weak side. But
Right. Because Levante David for Tampa Bay, like he's our offside linebacker, or off ball linebacker. I'd love to see like maybe us go after someone like him or like David Long, Tennessee Titans, or Tremaine Edmonds. Like I'd like to see us go get one of these linebackers, maybe. Just because, or we can sign Rashad Evans back if we think Troy Anderson is going to develop into that guy, which I'm fine with because Rashad Evans had a great season. He had a really high tackle percentage. He did good stop in the run. I have no problems with him. I just felt like we were getting beat by tight ends a lot this year, and I don't know if that was safety's fault or if it's the linebacker's fault, but whoever that is, we need to address that in this free agency. And there's a lot of good options out there for that.
Hey, fair enough.
I also had one other thing is there's former Saints players, not Jarvis Landry, but like Marcus Davenport for the defensive line. How do you feel about him? He was that's a guy that Saints traded a first round pick to go get the guy, and he's been like injury plagued a lot of the time, but when he is healthy, he's been incredible. Like, and Terry Vano has a connection with him.
Certainly, yeah.
He's a high risk, high reward. I don't know how much we'd want to spend on that guy, but
yeah, I don't know. At that position, it may be I would shy more away from the risk side. At a position where you still have to delve a good bit of money into, but that is just so physically demanding.
But maybe you get him on a 1 year like kind of deal. Like maybe
I mean, if he'd be willing to take a 1 year to swing on over to Atlanta,
to beat up on the
he's certainly a
Saints.
great player. Yeah.
Chauncey Gardner Johnson, he played for the Eagles this year, but he's a former Saint. He's like a
corner?
Safety. He's a cornerback safety hybrid. Like he went from slot corner to now safety.
A star, if you will.
And that's kind of what the Falcons go for. We go for those high, like diversity players that can do a lot of different things. I would love to bring him in, and he has that Terry Fontenot connection too from the Saints. So there's just some other names I was looking at.
Yeah.
Hey, fair enough.
I really want to go defensive heavy, obviously. Like every one of my names is defensive.
I don't know anything about defense. I only care about offense and coordinators.
That is like all you care about, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. I hate defense.
I hate defense.
What do y'all feel about re-signing like a couple players? So like Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah, no, I think bringing Zoe back, depending on how long of a deal he wants, I don't think it should be too long. I think like a 2 or 3 year deal
Yeah, I agree with that.
would be realistic with there. But yeah, and I'd love to keep a Georgia boy home. I mean, the I think obviously we already talked about it. You got to re-sign Lindstrom. You don't really have a choice there.
Nope.
Let's see.
Rashawn Evans, would you want to resign him?
Yeah, in the scenario you just laid out, yeah.
Yeah.
As far as trusting Troy Anderson to develop. And I think that you got to do that. When you're building a dynasty, it's not just, this isn't the NBA. You can't just go get a bunch of free agents. You have to rely on the people you've drafted.
Yeah. The draft's the most important in the NFL of any other sport. Like,
absolutely.
You really do have to keep bringing in fresh talent in the draft because you're so limited on where you can spend your money. 100%. And so I'm on the same page. Like if we think Troy Anderson's going to be the guy, then let's give Rashawn Evans whatever that discount, because he won't be as expensive as the other guys I said.
No, yeah.
And I really liked what he did here, so let's bring him back.
Is there now just this is probably not even close to happening at all.
Yeah.
And he's older, but is there any chance, just at all, that Levante David leaves the Bucks and comes to
that's what I said. I said Levante David. Yeah.
No, I know. But like, do we think that actually
I don't know how much money it would cost, but I'm right there with you. Like if we didn't like Rashawn Evans, what he was doing, because Troy Anderson and him do the same thing, which I don't know if that's true, but if that's the case, then I would love to bring Levante David in. Because linebacker, I've just noticed on good teams, it's so important. Like it changes the whole defense. Like Roquan Smith changed the Ravens defense this year. They went from a bottom half of the league, bottom team NFL. Wow, I'm struggling with my words right now. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, though.
I believe
bottom tier defense in the NFL to now they were finished the season top 10.
From a bad defense to a good defense.
Yes, I was trying to make it.
There we go. There it is.
Words are fun.
Words. Yeah. But no, yeah, that.
Oh, Justin Houston. What about we bring him in on the edge?
No.
You don't want him?
No, he's 70 years old.
Yeah,
and he's still phenomenal.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, but those end quickly. Those like, oh wow, he's this old and still playing.
What about a 1-year prove-it deal with J.D. Van Clowney?
Yes, I would get more behind that. Yes, but it would have to only be a 1-year deal. Yeah, but he's a great edge rusher when he wants to be.
He loves edging.
He's an edge lord. They call him. But yeah.
What else are we talking about?
That's I guess that's my list.
That's my wrap. Yeah,
we're pretty far in here. We're about an hour 20 in.
That was a lot of good. We talked about a lot of different players there. There's a lot to think about. If we didn't name someone you're interested in, leave a comment, tweet at us.
Yeah.
Nah.
Text us.
Yeah, okay. I'm just playing.
Send us a yik yak.
Comment on is that still a thing?
I don't think so. No,
comment on Instagram.
This is pretty good. I was a little bit worried about like the content wise what we're gonna be able to drum up, but that was a lot of detail for anybody that's listening about maybe what to see this off season.
Yeah, we got draft coming up. There's a lot to talk about coming up.
Oh yeah, the NFL is a 12-month sport, folks.
Yeah,
and they design it that way.
we have what?
There's never what I mean, Hayden, is there's never not something going on in the NFL.
When does free agency start? April?
True.
I don't know. Somewhere. April's the draft, right?
Oh, it is.
Either way, we'll get there. We'll hit all these landmarks here on Blursed.
We'll learn that along with you this year.
Yes. All right, you guys want to touch on some dogs, but with the round ball?
Yeah, hit them while you can.
How about them dogs?
Indeed. Well, I thought that was like added. I was looking down. I thought that was like added to the soundbite. I was like, damn, Hayden went a little extra there. Okay. But anyway, all right. Well, first of all, I wanted to bring back trivia from the other week. So I want to do a little cool down trivia with you guys. Blake won the last one 2-1.
Okay, Hayden.
Bullshit.
Yeah, so bullshit. So we're gonna keep a running tally here. So all right, we're gonna go 3 questions again. Same thing. To buzz in, say your name. Give me a noise of some sort. Doesn't have to be your name, but a noise. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start off pretty easy. Let's see, which one do I want to start with?
Don't caveat with that.
Don't tell me it's easy.
All right. So, what high school did LeBron James attend?
Lita.
Okay.
At St. Mary's?
Yeah, well, you got half of it. It is a Catholic school.
I was actually gonna guess St. Mary's too. That was like the first thing came to mind.
All right, we're going back. Wait, was that
Saint-
Hayden again? Say it.
I just kind of want to hit the horn. I don't actually know.
All right. Well, you guys both get a half point. It's St. Vincent, St. Mary's.
Ah.
Yeah. One of them two saints. Dos Santos. All right. Moving along here. Which current this is a great question for me to write. Which current NBA team has a former stadium that was repurposed into a Bass Pro Shop? Hayden.
Memphis Grizzlies.
That's right, folks. It's also the ninth tallest pyramid in the known world. So yeah, a lot of things going on in Memphis. We can talk about it on a different day. All right, so Hayden's currently up 1-2.
That's good. I had no idea.
Yeah. All right, so number 3 rounded out here. This one would win it. What award is the equivalent of the Heisman for NCAA men's basketball? What's the name of the award?
What?
Ah,
All right, I think that was Blake first.
Is it the Woodman Award?
Did you say the Wooden Award?
Woodman?
Wait, what?
Is it the Woodman?
No.
Naismith.
Okay, well, you can't just do that, Blake. Hey, yes, Aiden?
Well, now I'm suspicious it might be that one. Is it the Wooden?
It is not. Actually.
Is the Naismith?
It is the Naismith.
Yeah,
Yes.
I knew it. I forgot. I don't know why it's a Wooden. Is that from NBA?
Do what now?
Sorry.
You said Woodman. I said Wooden.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah, what's the
Wooden.
Wooden?
So it's actually funny. There's a little bit of that college men's and college football actually do the same thing. They both have.
Wait. Is Aaron still here?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
Oh, I froze.
You're good now.
Who? Are we all good?
Everybody's good.
Oh,
Wait,
no.
it says the Wooden Award is an award given to the most outstanding men's and women's
So
college
what I
basketball
was
player.
so what I was saying when I think I lost connection there is that college basketball and college football both have awards that one's given to the most valuable player, one's given to the most outstanding player. And I believe the Wooden Award is the most valuable, or is it most outstanding? Which one?
Most
did I say?
outstanding.
Most outstanding. Okay, yeah. And so let's see, what's the one in college football? Hold on a second. But yeah, it's weird because what my point is, one
It's the
award
same
gets
thing.
it's the same thing, worded very similarly, but kind of different. And yet one award gets all the press and the other one doesn't.
Yeah, Naismith's also most outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, see? So you give out the Wooden Award and the Naismith Award each year. And then in college football, it is oh man. Either way, I'll look it up on a later.
Don't even know what it is.
It's the Heisman, and there's one other thing.
Blink
Anyway,
off.
but anyway, all right. So I think who won that there?
I did it after it was my second.
I think Hayden got it.
I won.
Wait, I
Yeah,
said Naismith.
You said Woodman, and then you said Wooden, and then you said Naismith, all in the same breath.
but I
not how
realized
trivia
it. I
works.
knew it.
Is that how this works, Blake? Okay. But yeah.
I hate this game.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna take the victory. Even things
All right.
out.
So
I'll put
we're
an asterisk
tied
right
up
there.
right now. There it is, the Walter Camp Award. No, I'm sorry, the Maxwell Award. That's what it is.
Maxwell.
Yeah. The Maxwell in college football and the Heisman are essentially the exact same thing. The Maxwell is given to the best player in college football. The Heisman is given to the most. No, it's given to the best player. The Maxwell is given to the most outstanding.
I'm a Maxwell guy now because they don't make me wait an hour to
Yeah,
watch a
that's a good point.
special on TV.
That is a great point. All right. So let's move on a little bit to some
So do you
dollars,
wanna-
which I
just
know
really
you already
quick.
did So they went to 13-4 on the year after traveling to Ole Miss, who's not a great team. I think they are 9-8, somewhere around the Florida ranks, and we lost to Florida. So it was good to see we went on another road trip to a mediocre team, and we beat them. We held out there. We were down by a good bit. I think we were down by as many as like 14, I think it was. Anyway, the Dogs clawed back. They won by 4. on the road in the SEC. And if you listen to Kirby Smart, you know that's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do.
Regardless of sport. If you're on the road in the SEC, it's hard to win. So main thing, though, is they go to 3-1 in the SEC, or 3-1 is their record in the SEC right now. I can't recall the last time we were 2 games over 500 in the SEC. And I'm saying it, folks. I think this is a tournament team. We may crash and burn and only win 13 games and we lose out the rest of the year. But I'm telling you right now, if Georgia men's basketball keeps going the way they're going, we're looking at a team that's playing in March. And I'm thinking around a 11 or 10 seed.
I'll say
how we look right now.
What's wild about the SEC, and like to give you more merit to what you're saying, is that if you look at the SEC, almost every team's above 500.
Oh, yeah.
And overall play, which means against other conferences. But in the SEC, they're getting eaten alive right now.
It's quiet, it's quietly become reality that the SEC has long been the best conference in football. It is now the best conference in basketball, too.
Yeah.
It was for a long time. It was the Big East. It was the Big Ten. It was the Pac-12. All of those were better.
ACC.
Yeah, thank you. The ACC, all of those were better than the SEC. The SEC was like the fifth or sixth best conference out there, especially since you have all those crazy conferences in college basketball, like the Atlantic 10. Anyway, we're the best conference in basketball right now. I mean, it's hard to dispute it based off what Blake just said there, and the fact that I think we got like something like 7 teams are ranked. And being ranked in college basketball is much more impressive than being ranked in college football.
True.
So
more teams.
Way more. Some would say almost triple. So but yeah, so anyway, keep watching the Dogs. I think our next
they play Kentucky tomorrow.
There it is. We'll play Kentucky tomorrow. So if we could come out if we could beat Kentucky, a downtrodden Kentucky team. This isn't the Kentucky. It's not
normal Kentucky,
past, just like last year's Kentucky team.
They're 11-6, but they've lost 3 games in the SEC.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, if we can beat them,
them Dogs is hell.
Them Dogs is hell.
Don't
they? Yeah. All right. But yeah, so that's really all I got on men's football, on men's basketball there. Go out, support the Dogs. And then Atlanta United really has no news.
Still in the transfer window. We might see some big moves come soon. Maybe not.
No news is no news.
Probably just going to buy another backup goalkeeper. Love that. We just keep buying.
Let's go, Garth.
Yeah, Garth.
Way to start us strong. Maybe he looked at our goalkeepers like, none of you are good.
Yeah. Well, the guy he brought in is not really, I mean, he was a backup in France. I don't know.
Maybe that's better than a starter in the U.S. Is that still not true?
Not at the moment. I mean, for the team he was a backup for.
Right. I see what you're saying.
All right. Well, if you guys don't got anything else, should we skedaddle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodbye, guys.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Have a good week.
This is from Oh No. Check it out. Tell your friends. We're here all off season. We'll be back later. You're not going to say bye again.
I never say bye.
Say it.
Say it. Bye.
There it is. All right. Now we're done.